Welcome to the Mecca Minutes. I'm Gerry Mecca, and today we're going to be talking about the fractional leadership in corporations and the value proposition that a fractional leader can bring to any organization trying to leverage the most out of their technology and at the same time make the right investments in technology at the right time. I'm going to be defining fractional as 10 to 20 hours a week, and that's the basis of fractional to be contrasted with interim CIO or CTO or CXO, fill in the blank. The interim positions are usually temporary positions while they're trying to decide on who will be the full-time CIO or CDO for 40 hours a week versus a full-time salary. And many companies have found that this fractional role can be a permanent role in their organization. So we talk about everything fractional here. We talk about some other stuff. We talk about our favorite charities and we talk about our histories together because my guests are people I know. My guest today is Greg Welchins. Greg and I go back 45 years. 45. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's been that long. I don't look 45, do you?
No.
No. You can see I shaved off the gray. I'm still showing it a little here. But Greg is the CEO?
I'm the president and CMO.
CMO,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
I should have gotten that right in the bios. With distribution management. And you know what? I don't want to botch it.
Yep.
Why don't you tell the listeners and the viewers what it is that you guys do?
Okay. So we're a distribution company that really has two sides to it. One is a wholesale business that's related to print and print-related products, things like copiers, printers, the consumables that they use, large format print kind of things, latex, all those things, consumables. And the other part of our business is third-party fulfillment. So in the first case, when we wholesale, we own the inventory and we resell it. In the second case, as a fulfillment company, we don't own inventory, but we charge for things like pick and pack and packaging and small charges. And we make our products look like they come from somewhere else. It could come from Walmart. It could come from Amazon. It could come from Gerry's website. And we're integrated into all those. And so we're a privately held company based out of St. Louis, Missouri, 5 distribution centers across the country. We're 99% of the U.S. population in 2 days in delivery, and we use a lot of tech to do that. And we use robots in our warehouse to do some of our order processing. So we just crossed the $1 billion mark this year, and we're 54 years into the business. So
wow. Yeah. So are you a founder?
I am not a founder.
Okay.
I'm 25 years with the company.
Okay.
I came from the industry prior to that. Was recruited to the university we went to by somebody kind of in that space. And
you can mention the university. It's
University of Texas, Arlington.
Moving Mavs.
Where Gerry and I are from, and where we met. And Jim Miller was a booster.
Sure, I remember Jim.
And Jim was my city host. Back then, they had somebody kind of take you around on Saturday and show you the city and the business aspects to why you should want to be here. And so I fell in love with Jim. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into the industry.
No, that's very cool.
Yeah.
See, it's always, I learn something new every time.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked a lot over the years. And, so you said $1 billion in revenue. So I say this because a lot of people think fractional leadership is just for the 10 to 50 or maybe the $100 million or even a $500 million company. But the reality is it is somewhat tied to how has the company come to exist, whether it's a fractional CFO or a fractional chief operating officer. You may not need that full-time person because that aspect of your business might already be covered by some sort of fundamental solve that you get from the market. In IT, for example, all the operational stuff has been commoditized. You don't have to have a data center. You don't have to have PCs you own. You don't have to have on-site staff to support. But if you've got a technology secret sauce, you might need to have a technology IP person, somebody who's a coder or somebody who's doing some work in AI, et cetera. And so as a result, those opportunities for fractional leadership, even in established larger or at least medium-sized companies. So how is it that you were somewhat bullish on the fractional space?
Yeah.
How do you use fractional?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We do have a senior vice president of IT, right? We don't call her a CIO, but she heads up all of our technology, and we actually have 17 programmers on staff, and then operational support. So from an IT perspective, we do that in-house. From an operational perspective, we don't really have a chief operating officer. Our CEO kind of handles that side of our business, and it could be that we do need a fractional COO because as we grow, and we've grown really fast over the last several years, it's hard to keep up with understanding the technology of not just the IT side, but the robot side in our warehouses and our software that we use to manage our business. So that's one aspect of it, and another aspect of it is we really we're in a position now where we want to start acquiring companies, and we don't have the muscle memory of doing M&A, and so we're not large enough that we really feel like we need to have a team that does it. And so we've discovered that we really need fractional M&A help, and we've talked to several people about that over the last couple months, and we really think that's something that will give us an advantage and help us do mergers and acquisitions better by having somebody who's done it like you have done it for years in their space.
This isn't a job interview. I just
understood. And
I'm helping other people.
and so that's kind of how we think about fractional, and we've embraced it.
That's awesome.
We really have.
So and even in this is sort of a little bit of another permutation of it. You may be in a 3 to 5 year merger acquisition stage.
Yep.
That's still fractional if you have a person there for 3 to 5 years on a 10 or 20 hour a week kind of gig. But at the end of that 3 to 5 years, your goal might be to go public, which is a completely different person, or be acquired, which is another kind of person. So interesting perspective to hear about this fractional M&A person. But it follows the exact same sort of premise. You have you either, I like to use the IT one. That's what I've been doing all these years. The company is tech, and so they don't necessarily need somebody to be soup to nuts. And I'm talking everything from the operational side, all the delivery, all the coding, the contract negotiation, the vendor management, all the outsourcing, yes or no, cybersecurity. There's all these different aspects, but a good chunk of it might already be pre-designed into the way you do business. And so there's not a lot of decisions being made in that area, but you might want a fractional CISO.
Exactly.
And
security,
just,
right?
Bam.
Yeah.
And he or she isn't, what are they going to do when they're not chasing an issue? I mean, the goal, of course, in CISO is to build a zero trust, a capability that when something is happening, it's being addressed live, or it's being prevented or cornered off or quarantined. Or, of course, as you said earlier, the market changes constantly. So all fractional guys, different than interim, but I'm not saying exclusive, but all fractional guys and gals have to stay on top of the latest thing. I started teaching at UTD. I didn't want to teach how data center and servers. I wanted to teach AI. Actually, when I first walked in the door, they were like, data and analytics. I said, guys, I'm not saying that that's not cool, but where we need to be going is AI and quantum. You asked me the last time we talked, what would I do if I were breaking in right now? I would be focused on quantum.
Sure.
Certainly quantum readiness is already the buzz, but the reality of it, to me it is. And so being a senior leader at this stage, unlike a lot of other positions, CEOs tend to get a little stagnant. They're in their space. They're a CPG guy. They're a salesperson who's comfortable going out and meeting up with the retailers in person. But in order for you to stay up on tech, you got to really be up on tech. I love hanging with the kids. I love their thoughts. Maybe we'll be doing a project for you guys sometime soon. But all of that to say, it's a part of this fractional job to stay on top of all the latest trends, whether that's finance, operations, private equity, marketing. I mean, you're full-time marketing. So what do you do to stay up? Well, you just told me. Well, you told me on the off camera, but where are you headed? Just to let everybody know, you're about to go to a conference. Is this something that you're allowed to talk about? Or
sure, it's called the Executive Connection Summit. It's in Scottsdale, and the industry I'm in on one part of our business is the print-related space, and this is a gathering of people in that space, copier kind of dealers, but copier dealers are now starting to turn more towards managed services, right? So they're managing data centers. They're doing the things that you have done,
and realize that is I hate to say it, it's been commoditized.
It has, and it helps them as print starts declining.
Yes,
it helps them stay alive as a business.
Sure.
And so some of the things that we will be talking about is how to use AI in your business and the future of quantum computing. I mean, we have experts coming in to talk to us over the next, 4 days to do that. So really looking forward to hearing how it's progressing, how realistic it is, and when it's going to be coming, especially the quantum side.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I have... I'm not going to pitch everybody's books today. So let's just say out on LinkedIn, I follow a handful of the futurists as well as the people who, I don't call it futurist anymore because it's real. It's today. Maybe offline we can cover off on some of those things. But I've found since doing this podcast that, and I don't know whether or not I was a trendsetter when I first started doing fractional myself. What drove me, and this is common, I think, of a lot of folks like me, even though there's plenty of 30 and 40-year-old fractional guys, the fractional glut, if you will, the available talent right now is in the plus 50 category.
Sure.
Maybe even plus 60. And they have, over time, they have found their niches, and they like the golf course too. They love being with their grandkids. They love, so 10 or 20 hours a month isn't, and it's value driven. You get deliverables. You're bringing specific things to the table that the CEO is saying, I'm happy paying for this. Right. The thing I used to drive me nuts is my companies would hire these consultants and they would sit in the rooms and pontificate about stuff, never do a damn thing actually, unless we paid them to do that on top. Right. And the value was always sort of in question. And I work with one of them. I'm again, I'm not going to pitch everybody, but on my LinkedIn, everybody knows who I'm associated with. But and I think that they have value, particularly in the strategy and get people through what is our problem and how are we going to go about solving it. But the actual work that gets done is so valuable that paying me for 10 or 20 hours a week on a contract for a year is not unusual. Yeah. And they don't feel like the same. I'm not another consultant in the back room that everybody's like, what do we pay all these guys for? All they do is run up expenses. I'm not. I'm essentially an employee. Yeah. Now, if the deal is written in such a way to where they'll cover my expenses or they want me to fly someplace, that happens too. I love the remote ones. My very first one, after leaving Tropicana was remote, and they loved it. In the end, they decided they needed a full-time CIO, and I didn't want to move to Eastern Pennsylvania or Western Pennsylvania. So
understood.
That does happen.
Yeah.
And throughout the times that I've been doing this, like I said, I started EKG in 2017, and that was more because I knew things were changing at Dr. Pepper, and I didn't exactly know what was going on. I didn't know that we were going to buy Keurig or merge with Keurig or whatever, get taken over by Keurig. But soon after, it was like brilliant that I had decided to do this and put some feelers out.
Right.
Then the opportunity to be the CIO of DataScan, I originally talked to those guys just to try and help them with some decisions about their handheld computing technology. Mm-hmm. Should we go to Apple? Should we stay in the Android space? And so sometimes the fractional does get asked to be the full time.
Yeah.
Or the strategy changes, and now you're perfect for that. I'm trying to be that guy who can go play some golf and knock around with the I have 4 brothers and 3 sisters. Mm-hmm. They all have kids, and they have kids. There's an army of Meccas running around out there, and I love being with them and seeing them, and yet I'm over there coaching baseball too. So working at the hospital, doing my IT gig, but even now this platform I've turned down business, mm-hmm. and people call me up, hey, do you have any capacity for 20 hours? I'm like, I can't, but I know somebody who does. Mm-hmm. And that's been great because people are calling me up, they've seen the video, say, I'm available. And so we work out an arrangement to make sure that I don't just pass them on for, because out of the kindness of my heart, I am still a capitalist.
It's interesting. The people we've talked to from an M&A perspective, kind of fractional, they're more of the 10-hour, right?
Yeah.
But it's 10 hours here and 10 hours here.
That's right.
And sometimes it's another 10 hours, depending on their capacity.
Sure.
And the really cool thing about that, to me, is the experience that you get from different businesses that you are that fractional person for. Because it's all current, all things you're doing right now, but you get different perspectives. And it really gives a well-rounded advice, if you will, from the fractional because of that,
Well, we also... we're not afraid to tell you your baby's ugly.
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah, it is I like a year deal.
Yeah.
I've been fired before, but I like a year deal. Yeah. The interims are, I say a year deal with renewable.
Yeah.
And it usually is. But with the interim, you're basically told 4 months, 6 months, maybe longer, who knows? And it's this constant chasing another opportunity. Yeah. And in that situation, you're afraid to offend somebody. Yeah. You're like an employee for all intents and purposes. But when you're a fractional and you're there 10 hours a week, and he might call you up, the boss might call you up and say, can you do 20 next week? We got a bunch of people coming in. Sure. Yeah. But the ability to look at something and go, who thought that was a good idea? Yeah. And the boss goes, well, I did. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I just
see, and that's that's the great thing. Yeah. Because if I'm working for the boss, I can't do that because I have a relationship with him and I want to continue working, right? And
I get it.
And that's some of the advice we've heard is that I can say things that you can't say,
that's right.
Greg, or that Rick can't say, or Michelle can't say, right? Because I'm fractional, I come from the outside, I give a different perspective, and that's kind of what the CEO's paying me for, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's funny. Like I said, I fire people. I've been fired. I mean, I've literally had coaching clients sit down with me. I told them what they needed to do, and they didn't want to do it. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, well, then, what value am I? Mm-hmm. Trying to say that through my experience, this is what will work for you. Now, I'm not saying I'll be perfect, but you've got an alternative. You called me. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. At UTD, we had a project come in. We try to get the client to tell us their problem. Mm-hmm. Like I said, the Einstein concept of 55 minutes on the problem and 5 minutes on the solution.
Yeah.
People think they already know what the solution is, and they often will come in and tell us, we need to do this to grow our customers. Okay, well, that's a solve. Why aren't you growing your customers? Well, because our technology is not up to date. Well, technology is a possible way of getting you. But what about the technology that you currently have doesn't work? Oh, and finally the lights go off and they realize how to define the problem.
Yeah.
And so, we had a client spent the whole semester and was not happy with the report. The end of the semester's over. Now the students got good grades because they busted their butts.
Sure.
They did exactly what the client said, but he didn't like the answer he was given. 2 years later, he came back and said, I should have listened to you guys.
Interesting.
Great stuff. Now, hard to get that and hard to be, but you have to be firm, and you can be that way when you're fractional.
Yeah.
You can be the tough love or whatever they want to call it. So I notice you're wearing a ring. What ring is that?
It's one like yours.
Yeah, let's
So
see if we can get
it's-
those on camera.
Mine looks a little different because
How did you get some
I-
fancy?
I lost mine
Oh,
originally. I found it,
okay.
but in the interim, if you will,
Yeah.
using a word you just used, it was lost for about 2 years, and I went back to the manufacturer,
Jostens or
and-
Balfour or
and-
whoever's
yeah,
doing those.
and I was able to. By that time, I was able to upgrade,
Yep.
and
I should have too. I mean, this is like, I'm going to joke about it, but they're like, this is the yellow lustrum,
Right.
Whatever they gave us with whatever the stone is. But it still looks great.
it's a great ring. It's wearable.
So
too,
it
right?
is our UTA Conference Championship ring from 1981.
Yeah,
81.
45 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah.
And we've been undefeated since '86.
That's right.
And what that's the most
It's easy
frustrating.
to do when there's no football.
That's right.
Yeah.
Largest university in the nation
Yeah.
that
Without
doesn't
a
have a football program. And I got a feeling that NIL might change that. I'm not saying it. I mean, I've got so many people who are like, Gerry, why are you still on this? It's been 40
I'm
years
hoping.
since the football program is over. And, and I believe that it should never have stopped. It was stopped for wrong reasons.
Yeah.
It was stopped because people were not athletically inclined and they wanted to focus on engineering. I didn't have a problem with focusing
Yeah.
on engineering, just not taking the focus off the other reason that a lot
Yeah.
of people go to school. And so, what are your thoughts about UTA football coming back?
Well, I still have hope. You and I have had a lot of conversations with the athletic director. They hired guys that were football guys
Yeah.
as the athletic director, and
Yep.
what do they call him now?
He's the
general manager, or
No, he is it's an AD role, but it's like executive.
right?
administrator.
It was the assistant,
Yeah.
and now with NIL, they've
Yeah.
kind of changed the
Give it a new name.
terminology.
Yeah.
But they're both football guys. One's
That's right.
from Arkansas, one's from LSU.
Yeah. Yep.
They both love football. They'd love to do it. It's a money thing.
Right.
And, we've had conversations about private equity entering the space of
Yeah.
college football, NIL changing everything. So I think it's possible.
Yeah.
We just have to get the money to do it and have the Board of Regents.
I don't think the
agree.
regions are going to be a problem. I think at the end of the day, so two things. Love the women's flag football
Yeah.
idea. I love it. I don't care what everybody else. Wish we had football. Sure, I do too.
Well, we
but
have to add more women's sports.
we
right?
have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
because Title IX.
Yeah.
Now, forget whether the politics are going to change Title IX, but because I don't think that's what we want to do either. I
Yeah.
love the fact that we've got the first D1 flag football program in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
UT Arlington, number
It's
one.
awesome. Yep.
Is that great?
That is.
But I give a lot of that to Jennifer Cowley. She is visionary enough, but she's been very clear. We don't have the money to staff a
Yeah.
football team, not the kind that she would want.
Yeah.
Her background, A&M and Ohio State,
Yeah.
she's not going to walk in and do some, halfway program. So the fact that we've got the right kind of leadership, we just need the money.
Well, hopefully you'll have a listener out there
Yeah,
that watches Mecca Minutes
right,
and
that's
wants
right.
to contribute that.
Maybe, no, I'm not going to mention any names. It gets me in trouble. Well, I don't know. Patrick Mahomes, he's a Texas boy. Maybe he'll come come our way. Patrick, you watching? All right. Well, I also mentioned that we work for a living. We played football. We got grandkids. You just flew in. Boy, are your arms tired. And so tell me a little bit about the charity work you've been involved in.
Sure. So in 2025, I was asked to be what's called the Spirit of Life honoree for the City of Hope.
Okay.
City of Hope is a cancer research and treatment center based out of Pasadena, California. But they have locations in Chicago and Atlanta and Phoenix. And it's something that our industry adopted over 40 years ago. And since that time, 40 years ago, we've raised about $300 million for cancer research and treatment, and through City of Hope. And so as the Spirit of Life person for our industry, I'm charged with I'm actually just like the head of fundraising for the industry. But the industry is collaborated over those 40 years to raise that amount of money. And it's a very synergistic. We have competitors that we're at the same meetings, talking the same things, raising for the right reason. And, we're doing it for the purpose of giving people hope, right? I mean, because when that word cancer or diabetes, but cancer hits you
Scares.
Or hits somebody, everything stops.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is we want to give hope to people. And this year, we've got a new initiative that's around veterans. And so we have a facility in Phoenix. It's a TGEM facility that City of Hope acquired, I think it's 11 or 12 years ago, that actually creates the vaccines now that they're using to fight cancer. So they take your DNA out, they re-engineer it, and it fights your specific cancer. And they've been very successful with it. And so veterans is our focus this year, because if you look at the incidence of cancer in especially special forces, Navy SEALs, Rangers, people like that, it's about 10 times the normal population. Yeah.
Whoa.
And so we want to have a focus. Nobody really has focused on those people and give them hope, right? And so that's what a large portion of the money I'm raising this year. We've through January, we've raised about $5.5 million. My reign, if you will, as the Spirit of Life guy goes through September. And then there's a new guy.
So how do people find Spirit of Life or the Hope?
So you can go to the City of Hope website. We actually have, and I can give you we can put it on here if you want.
Give you a URL. We can engineer that fancy stuff.
We can put that out there, and people can scan that, and it takes them right to, a personal giving site, and they can personally give
Nice.
So that's what. I'm
so
doing.
Circle back to distribution management.
Yep.
That's the name of the company.
Yep.
How do people learn about your business? Is it you have your own website?
We have website, distributionmanagement.com. If you're a reseller or a manufacturer that needs distribution in the print space, we do that. Or if you are a manufacturer, we have shirt manufacturers. We have water manufacturers that, so if you ordered a case of Fiji water online and subscribe to it, it would come from our facilities, but it would say Fiji on the invoice to you. That type of distribution, third-party fulfillment, we're really good at it. And
very interesting.
That's what we do. So that's, if you look us up, that's why you would look us up.
No, well, people need to know. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Thank you.
I'm, of course, Gerry Mecca with the EKG Group. My website is ekggroup.llc.com. I have been doing fractional leadership, but right now I'm at full capacity. But happy to have you on the program today. Happy to hear your perspectives about fractional leadership and how it can be valuable to companies of various sizes. And man, I hope we get this football program back.
Me too.
Man, it'd be great.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Enjoyed.
Yeah.